Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome to part 3 of our GameSalad tutorial. In this tutorial, I'm going to create a couple obstacles for us to get past. Not necessarily enemies, because that takes AI, it takes some shooting back, it takes a lot of different functions that we'll get to eventually. But for now, we just want to create some obstacles so we can get used to the coding functions in GameSalad. So let's go ahead and go over here to the media library. And let's go and import some media. So we'll go to our Space Shooter Redux. These are again Kenny.nl graphics. And we'll go to our PNGs. And let's go to our meteors. Meteors seem like a good choice of thing to do. So let's choose this big meteor. And let's create an actor for it. So we'll create an actor. Call it meteor. And we'll go to our actor attributes. And we'll change the image to our brown meteor image. Perfect. And anything else we need to do? Let's drag it in and see how big it is. Oops. Yeah, definitely something we need to do. Control Z. We don't want to just have it on top of our background. We want it above our background. So there we go. Okay, so now we have this guy. And let's add a couple in here. And we're actually going to make this a little bit more interesting too. So, oh, we don't want all of these. My goodness, we just want this one. That was my fault. So here, here. Alright, so now we have all these different meteors, and we want them to kind of float around. So first of all, if these start floating around, they're going to go off the screen. So just to make it a little bit more fun, let's bring in some Pac-Man style dynamics and make the X and Y edges of the game wrap to the other side. So if we go to our scene, we can go to our wrap X and wrap Y and just choose yes on both of those. And we can stop the player from exiting these areas using blocks later on, but we just want to be able to make sure that these rocks and everything can keep coming back. So let's open up our actor for our meteor. And the first thing we're going to want to do is give it a little bit of rotation. So let's go ahead and do rotation. And let's say it'll rotate at a speed of, well, let's see how fast this rotates. So that's actually pretty fast. So I can say, let's do a random number. We don't want it to be the same for each one. So let's do random, which we can see in our functions. If we look for RA random, if we double click on that, we'll see that we have our minimum and our max number. So we could choose 30 as our minimum, and 90 was pretty fast, so let's choose 90 as our max. And now every time one of these is created, it's going to go at a random random speed between 30 and 100. So let's say 30, 100, and we'll hit the check mark here. There we go. If we hit play, that one's going slower. See, they're all going at relatively different speeds. So even though they're the same graphic, they look kind of different, which is great. Now we want to give it a direction too. So let's choose, we could choose move. How does that look? Move in direction. Yeah, this is perfect. So let's do the same thing. Let's say we want to do a random function, and we'll type this in this time. We'll say random. Now we have 360 degrees, so we can go in a bunch of different directions. We'll choose 0 as our first number, and because our number doesn't go up to 360, it goes 359, because computers count the 0 as 1, we're gonna put 359 as our max. So our speed, let's do the same thing. Random 0 to 30. And that should give us a random rotation, a random movement direction, and a random speed. So these are all over the place, which is not great. And we're gonna do this relative to the scene, because I realize that it's moving relative to itself, but if it's spinning, it's not gonna work. So let's try this again. There we go. So all the speed seems to be going right. They do look to be editing, but they're going across. So let's move in direction. There we go. Now they're all moving in random directions. A lot faster than I hoped, but it's going. So let's change this one. We'll choose our functions and choose random. Sorry, that wasn't working there for a second. I think I just have to choose one here. Random from 0 to 3. Let's try that. 3 is a little too slow. Let's go back and change this to 10. Play. Kinda. We were at 30 and it was moving too fast. There we go. Now they're kind of moving. Some of them are moving fast, some are moving slow. Great. Let's change this to 5. That way they're all at least moving a little fast. Okay, 5 to 30. Play. Like as that one goes on one end, it's the other end. Okay, so now we have a bunch of stuff to populate our game. And as you can tell, we could even go from one side of it to the other and from the top to the bottom, which we could stop later. But now we have stuff to avoid. So now that we have our meteor prototype, what else can we do? Let's set a goal. So, well, no, not a goal. Let's make a collision event. So when our player hits the meteor, we do something. Right? So let's create a new rule and say, when all of these conditions are true, collision with actor of type meteor, do something. Alright? And in this case, we're just going to kill the player, so destroy. And that'll make the player disappear if he hits a meteor. And we can add more events like explosions and scores and all that stuff later, but that works now. So now when we hit a meteor, you lose the game essentially. Moving further, let's make a reward. So let's go ahead and import an image, and let's choose a power-up and a gold star. Pretty straightforward. I'm gonna drag this over here. And once you get this little star, you win. So let's rename this win and say when the player collides with the win actor up here, we can do something. And what we're going to do is we're going to change the scene to the next scene with no ad. So every time we make it all the way to the top. Oh, I didn't quite make it. Let's try it again. We go to the next scene. So now we've gone ahead and created some dynamic meteors and items to kind of avoid in our game, and we've created a map that tiles a little bit and a map that wraps around the edges. We've created a collision event for when we run into objects we're not supposed to, and a collision event for when we run into objects we are. So in the next video we'll expand upon this a little bit more, and I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Alright, hope you have a good day. Peace.